What's up, everyone? Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It is the October 5th edition of WWE NXT. I'm Denise Salcedo, and today we're going to go over the show, talk about some of the biggest moments, some of the hits, some of the misses of the night, all of that and more here today to get the wrestling week officially started. I got three big shows this week. As always, we kick off the week with NXT on Tuesday, and then we also have Wednesday's AEW Dynamite, which is my most popular show of the week. And then Friday, we officially kick off the King of the Ring tournament and the Queen's Crown tournament. So I will be here on Friday to talk about Smackdown and Rampage. So there is plenty to go down here tonight. But before we get started, I want to remind you all that this is a very interactive show. So as you guys want, make sure to take part in the chat. I will be reading comments, thoughts, etc. as we move forward with this show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in live, and let's go ahead and get started, guys. I'm going to kick things off with a comment from Cameron, just to kind of get some overall thoughts, because I put out a tweet basically asking people, now that it's been a couple of weeks since we had this new version of NXT 2.0, I've been asking people, how do you feel about it so far? It's a very, not just a different look, but we're getting a different level of in-ring ability. We're getting so many different talents, so many different characters, edgier, parodic, sort of speak. And so there definitely is a lot of changes that are very crystal clear. Like, I remember probably like around the time that Ariel Helwani did that interview with Nick Khan, and around the time we did the SummerSlam tryouts for the new talents coming in, I remember doing one of these shows on here and talking about how all of these changes kind of felt like they were going to be happening very slowly. We were going to see them, a little by little. And I kind of feel like we were definitely wrong. I was definitely wrong on that, because I almost feel like we got bombarded right away with these changes on NXT, and we are seeing them so much more now, and it's an entirely new product. So I feel, if anything, now that we've gotten a couple of weeks of NXT 2.0, it is more it's becoming more clear whether or not you're interested in the product. And so I put out that tweet basically asking people how they feel about NXT. Do they like the new direction that NXT 2.0 is headed in, or do they miss the old version of NXT? I will say, based off like the comments that I read, I still got like 70% of people basically saying they miss the old NXT. We got like 20% people saying they like this version of NXT a lot more. And then we got I'm going to say, maybe, no, I'm wrong. It was like 70% people that didn't like it, maybe like 20% saying they like some aspects of it. And then there's 10% or so that like it more than the old NXT, which is very interesting, because I wasn't even expecting to see any of those comments. I myself personally feel like there are some aspects of NXT 2.0 that I personally enjoy and have been enjoying. If I didn't, I wouldn't be on here doing these post shows every single week. But it is just such a different show and such a different product from NXT, the original NXT, that it is still taking a lot of time to get used to, where I almost sometimes feel like we're still going to get the old NXT coming back. And I constantly have to be reminding myself, like, no, this is the new version and this is what you're getting now. So it has been a little bit interesting. So I am curious as to how you guys feel. How do you feel? Are you moving on? Are you adapting with the changes, moving on to this NXT 2.0, or are you still very hesitant in even giving the product a chance? Go ahead and let us know in the comments. I'm going to read a couple of the comments that we have so far, and then we'll jump into running through the show. So we got a comment here from Cameron Mumford, who says, I'm really trying to like this NXT 2.0. This show had some positive things here and there, and some of the talents I'm definitely feeling better. But overall, the old NXT did this so much better. And I kind of feel bad. This is the problem. Like, I feel like, yes, the old NXT, so the old NXT was great, right? But the last couple of months, maybe or so, like the last year, ever since we had the Wednesday Night Wars, that's really when the NXT brand started to feel like it started to get tainted. It started to get like this, bad reputation, and not the whole entire, like, there was still a lot of good wrestling on the show, but in general, the show itself was not necessarily all of that captivating. So I almost feel like that little like portion of NXT that we were seeing sort of tainted like a lot of people's like I don't know, it maybe changed people's perception of what they thought of NXT as a whole. But personally, like, I'm there again, there are a lot of things that I like about NXT 2.0, but I still really feel like I just really miss the old version of NXT. I almost it's kind of hard to say, guys. I'm a little bit torn here. We got a comment here from Joelle Fernandez who says, tonight's NXT isn't bad. I'm getting used to it, but I miss my boy Johnny wrestling in the ring. Let's see, we're going to go through a couple more comments here. We got one from Keith who says, it's so different. I wish it was called something different than NXT rather than 2.0. Drew Scott says, I enjoyed NXT tonight, but boy, oh boy, am I scared what they are about to do with the Joe Gacy, Parker. Yeah, we're going to get into that. That was not Drew Scott says that was not a good first look when they cut to him in the crowd. We're going to get to that because the second they cut to him and they showed him in the stands, my brain went a direction that I do not know if I went in the direction that I think they're going to go with or the direction that it seems like they're going to go with. So we'll talk about that in a second because I am a little bit on the nervous side as well, especially since he's going to be interacting with Joe Gacy. We'll get to that because I do have some thoughts on that. We got a comment from Mac Hensley who says, this episode is so far the best 2.0, but that's bar is low. And that's also with me listening on mute for most of the stream. Oh my God. Yeah, there's some people that tell me they watch NXT more as like a background sort of thing, but it doesn't necessarily feel like a must-watch show, a can't-miss show, and that's the problem right now. And I think it's going to take a while because, again, we're also getting used to all of these new faces. We got a super chat from Nick Grasso. Thank you so much to Nick, as always, who says, where are they going with Ember Moon? Is she just a jobber now? Do you think Toxic Attraction will hold all the gold soon? They should have already beaten Io and Zoe. So I do not expect to see Io and Zoe as tag team champions for much longer. First of all, they've been, I don't want to say a terrible tag team because they're both good competitors, but in terms of as a team, they haven't necessarily been great, but that's just because like the story between the two of them hasn't been great. And they really haven't even done much with them. Like, it's been very forgettable that they're even champions. Like, even right now, I second guessed myself. I was like, yeah, they're champions. No, they're not champions. Yes, they are champions. I shouldn't be thinking about that right now. That should not be the case. And then with Ember Moon, we're going to talk about her in just a second because she is in the opening match. But one of the things that I immediately want to get off my chest now that you brought up Ember Moon is I do not know why she is not back on that main roster. She is somebody that is fun to watch wrestle in the ring. She has such a unique look, and I don't get it. I feel like you can do so much more with Ember Moon, and I kind of feel bad that they're like, it almost seems like NXT is just like, that's it, like that's it. Like that's all we're going to see from her. I don't know if that's true, but that's what it feels like right now. We also got a super chat from Crifter C. Thank you so much to Crifter, who says Kevin Dunn is not a welcome addition to NXT. Oh, we'll get to that. Thank you so much to Crifter C for sending in a super chat here today. All right, guys, let's get into this show because there is plenty to talk about here today. Okay. But before I do get to that, I spotted a comment here from Pomi Wrestling that I do want to read in regards to the overall feeling of NXT versus NXT 2.0. Pomi Wrestling here says, I'm trying to adapt, but it just feels like a giant downgrade from the previous version, which was far from perfect. I already watched Raw and SmackDown. I don't need another show. It's such a similar feel. It has a similar feel, but at the same time, it doesn't because, again, we're getting so many new faces. So anyways, let's get into this, guys. So we kick off the show with the opening match that we had, which was Mandy Rose versus Ember Moon. So I already kind of said my piece really quickly about how I feel about Ember Moon. I do definitely think that she is somebody that should be on the main roster. Should be back on the main roster, and she should really, it's just, for me, it's kind of a little bit frustrating. And the reason why I say this is because as somebody that watches Raw and SmackDown on a weekly basis, and, one of the topics that I'm always talking about is how we need more challengers. We need more people to help build up their champions. Like, it is so tiring how many times I have said this. And I really do think that Ember Moon could be one of those women on either Raw or SmackDown doing just just that. So I almost feel like we got like this wasted potential with her over on NXT. But whatever, aside from that point here, I enjoyed this match. I enjoyed this match a whole lot more than I thought I would. I still feel like, even though I'm one of those people that have been totally digging Toxic Attraction, I've been on here talking about how I actually enjoy Mandy Rose right now on NXT. I almost still feel, though, that because of the way Mandy Rose was portrayed on the main roster as of late when she was over on Raw, it's still sometimes like, when she does good on NXT, like I forget that she's capable of that because I'm so trained to remember just what I saw on Raw. And this is not even when including what I saw on SmackDown, because I like the stuff that she did on SmackDown. But on Raw, because that was like my recent memory of her work, it kind of just like throws me off every time she's on NXT and that she's doing a great job. So I do have to say, like, I know there's a lot of people, and I know this because I saw this on Twitter, people are not necessarily all of that crazy about Mandy Rose, or they're not crazy about Toxic Attraction. There are some people like myself that are fans of the, the whole idea, but it feels to me very, very, like, I'm even more positive now. I'm more positive than ever that Mandy Rose is going to be the next NXT Women's Champion. And based on the new direction that we're going on NXT, it's like she definitely fits this new direction, but it is going to be such a change from all of the previous NXT Women's Champions. But it feels to me this is definitely where we're headed. And a perfect example of that is her essentially, like, this match was fine. Like, this match was not bad whatsoever, especially after what we saw with B-Fab and Elektra Lopez. Like, this was definitely a huge step up on what we're seeing here. But anyways, so this was a fun match. We see Ember Moon essentially. Mandy Rose gets tied up, in the corner. Ember Moon just starts like kicking her on her lower back. I thought that was sick. That was aggressive. I like that. We see Ember Moon powerbomb Mandy Rose onto the ring apron, and then Ember also takes out both Gigi and Gacy with a suicide dive. Then afterwards, we see Ember get her with a knee to the face to Mandy Rose. And then she goes for the Eclipse, but instead she doesn't get it. And Mandy does a running knee to the face and wins the match. So I will say this, I like the match, but here's the thing that I want to get at, and this is why I'm even more positive that Mandy Rose is bound to win the title. So we had that whole closing image of Mandy essentially holding up the title, and they kept putting that on the previews for NXT leading up to this show. And then now you have her essentially defeat Ember Moon. Now, when you think of all of the women on the NXT roster, Ember Moon is not necessarily bottom of the barrel. Beating Ember Moon, to me, in my opinion, actually means something. So the fact that they gave Mandy Rose a win over Ember Moon, and then all of the stuff that we see later on tonight's show, which we'll talk about later with Raquel and all of that, it is very clear to me that Mandy Rose is most likely going to be new NXT Women's Champion. So I feel like whenever this does happen, I know there's going to be a lot of people that are like completely upset. So I'm just warning you guys all now. This is probably bound to happen. So do not be freaking out when it does happen, because they are definitely planting the seeds here that this is the direction that they are heading in. And it's becoming very, very clear. We also have, before I get to that, before I get to the next portion that I want to talk about, that still kind of has to do with this match a little bit, I want to get your thoughts on all of this, your thoughts on Toxic Attraction, your thoughts on Mandy Rose, your thoughts on this opening match, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into to our next topic here. But let's see what else. Oh, we're getting some Frankie Monet comments, but let's save the Frankie Monet comments until we get to that portion of the show, because that is also going to be a heavy discussion as well. Justin Martin sends in a comment saying this was probably Mandy Rose's most impressive singles win to date. I think she's fitting in very nicely on the new NXT. I have to agree. I think she's doing perfectly well. There hasn't been a moment where I kind of felt like she was out of place. Not once. I thought she's been bringing it for the most part. I don't feel like I have anything negative to say about Mandy Rose. I really do not. And we got a comment here from Pomi who says Toxic Attraction has potential, but their push feels too rushed to end Raquel's reign, especially after they had the chance to make a title change last month with Dakota Kai. So Dude, you just opened up like a million different topics right now. And that's the thing. We can go off in a million different directions here. Well, first of all, okay, so toxic attraction, you just noted that they feel too rushed. I would agree with this. However, right now, we haven't even got into this yet, but we are probably already going to get a new NXT champion in Braun Breaker by the end of this month. I'm feeling fairly confident in that. We'll talk about that more later. But right now, a lot of things. I mean, they are going in quickly and making these changes to NXT. So I won't say that I feel like it's too rushed with Toxic Attraction. I won't say that because right now they're rushing everything on this show. I mean, we're getting like so many new faces, so many new characters, and all of this new wave of information being just like thrown to us as the viewers. And so I will say that I do not feel like it feels too rushed. Now, one of the other things that I've been seeing a lot of is a lot of people necessarily aren't that crazy about Raquel Gonzalez's reign as women's champion. I've been seeing a lot of criticism that they find her dull, they find her boring, whatever the case may be. I have been seeing a lot of that on social media. I like Raquel as champion. They just haven't been giving her hot feuds. They haven't been giving her hot challenges besides what they had her do with Dakota Kai. Other than her work that she did with Dakota Kai, it feels like a lot of what they've had Raquel do since Rhea Ripley has been filler. It hasn't been main event women's championship material, aside from what she did with Rhea Ripley, which was like forever ago, and what she recently did with Dakota Kai. I can't remember anything else in between that I thought was legitimately good and benefited Raquel's reign. The other thing that I want to touch on here is Dakota Kai. From the looks of it, Dakota Kai they haven't made an official announcement or anything like that, but it does not look like Dakota Kai is part of that NXT roster anymore. Bayley sent out a tweet basically saying that she is a free agent since she wasn't drafted to Raw or to SmackDown. Dakota Kai commented on that as well, basically saying that they should team up and be called the free agents because she too, according to this tweet, is a free agent. So by that, I'm assuming that she's no longer on NXT. Now, she's been having these dark matches, etc. We've already known that for Dakota Kai, but it's like they did have a chance to make Dakota Kai champion off of that story with Raquel. They definitely had a chance there, but I'm assuming they didn't pull the plug on that because they're probably wanting her to go to the main roster. So they probably figured, okay, let's not make her champion just in case we do send her up to the main roster. Now, she wasn't drafted and the draft is officially over. So, I mean, knowing WWE, I'm expecting Dakota Kai just to like randomly pop up. I'm assuming she's maybe going to be in the Queen's Crown tournament. That's like the best assumption that I can make, but it also doesn't make sense as to like, let's say she does appear on the Queen's Crown tournament or something. Why would they essentially wait when they could have drafted her now during the draft? So it is a little bit confusing. I do not know what is going on with Dakota Kai or why they didn't draft her or when she's actually going to be either A, making her debut on Raw or SmackDown, or B, going back to NXT. I do not know. So there's definitely, it feels like there's a lot of uncertainty around that. So you just opened like Pandora's box of like so many different topics to get into here. So we got so many different thoughts on this. Let's get into this because a lot of people are sending a lot of stuff. We got a comment from Drew who says that he sure will see a few surprises pop up on Raw and SmackDown coming the next few weeks as undrafted free agents. Not only that, we're kickstarting this new, the premiere of SmackDown this Friday. Again, they could have just drafted any surprises, but if there are surprises to be made, now would be a good time to definitely bring those surprises in. And we got some more people saying that they basically, Joel Fernandez is saying we're forgetting Kaylee Ray. Dude, when's the last time we saw Kaylee Ray? I don't feel like I've talked about her in weeks. It's been weeks since I've talked about Kaylee Ray. Honestly. It's been weeks. We got Jeremy saying that he's not convinced Mandy is winning the NXT title. We got Joelle saying that Toxic Attraction as a group is great. Now we need Gigi and Gacy to have their own unique characters. So when they go solo, they don't get lost in the shuffle. Now, I would agree with this. However, I do think that Gigi Dolan, who they're having her be right now, feels like her. JC Jane, it feels a little less like her. So yeah, that's how I feel about that there. And let's see. We got a super chat from Christopher Marino. Thank you so much to Christopher, who says, also Raquel being face feels weird. Dang, is she yeah, I was going to say, is she a face? Oh yeah, she is, because I was remembering we had this discussion when she was feuding with Dakota, where Dakota was the heel, but everybody saw her as a face. So yeah, Raquel is still technically a baby face, even though in my mind she's a heel. So go figure, because for the last few weeks, I've been seeing Raquel in my head as a heel. So anyways, oh God, there's just so much to get into with that there. Let's get into the rest of this, guys. Okay, so here's my opinion on this next thing here. I think we finally got a shot at AEW from WWE. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be a drama starter right now. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But this, to me, was a shot at AEW in a directly indirect way. Yes, I said that, in a direct, indirect way. Okay. So when Toxic Attraction was, doing their thing, we've had Wade Barrett essentially kind of being kind of pervy. He'll be saying all these comments about Toxic Attraction and how he's so into them. And we've been getting this for the last couple of weeks on commentary. So Vic Joseph, of all people, who does not even seem like he has an edgy bone in his body, Vic Joseph pulls out a line basically telling Wade Barrett that if he keeps talking about Toxic Attraction the way that he is gonna Urban Meyer himself. So if you haven't been on social media and all of this, there's this controversy with Urban Meyer. Basically a video being out there of him practically bumping and grinding with some women that's not his wife. So there's this whole controversy on that. As you guys know, he has this whole thing with the Jaguars and who owns the Jaguars. You guys know the cons. So it's just I think that was an direct shot at AEW, and I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I thought this was probably considering that they're going this more edgy direction, I actually thought that this was pretty hilarious. And I've been on these AEW shows saying that I do not mind the shots that they've thrown at WWE. And I know a lot of people definitely mind those because we've had this discussion already on those shows. So I would be hypocritical to say that I didn't like them, because I did like it. So anyways, I thought that was kind of funny, and it was definitely unexpected there. See, someone says, is that really a shot at AEW? Really? I think it is. If you don't think it is, cool, but I think it is. And Joel Fernandez says, I heard Vic said it and I lost it. It was pretty hilarious, guys. I think it was pretty dang hilarious. All right, guys, here we go. Let's go ahead and move on to this next one here. So after this, we had Odyssey Jones versus LA Knight. Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk about LA Knight for a second, guys. A big conversation that we're going to have today, as we've been having, because it's the draft and all of that. I am very surprised that LA Knight did not get drafted in this draft, because he is one of those guys that, to me, screams main roster. We've been saying this as somebody who got brought in during the old NXT. Immediately, I was like, oh, he doesn't really fit into NXT. He seems like a guy that could be doing something on Raw or SmackDown. He just fits that scene a lot more than NXT. Now, granted, there's been some changes on NXT 2.0, but even based on what we're seeing on NXT 2.0, I don't necessarily know that we've been seeing all of the greatest things for LA Knight, because LA Knight, if you guys recall, lost to Braun Breaker on the premiere of NXT 2.0, and that was literally before his big fatal four-way match for the NXT championship. And then during this draft, he doesn't get drafted. I don't know, bro, but for me, this did not seem like a very positive thing, in my opinion, at least. He did get a win over Odyssey Jones. Odyssey Jones was essentially manhandling him throughout this entire match, but then we see Andre Chase coming out and essentially distracts Odyssey Jones, and so LA Knight is able to get the win here. Now, I will say this, I did not like the finish to this match whatsoever. To me, like, Odyssey Jones should have won this match, okay? I don't know, like, I get it, like, okay, maybe they don't want to have LA Knight taking all of these losses, but I'm sorry, but there is way more upside in Odyssey Jones than LA Knight. And also, on top of that, Odyssey Jones is a new face here, somebody that I think has a lot of potential, and I think they think that too. Well, I would think they would think that. Anyways, he's a big guy. This is a guy who should be presented like a beast, should be presented like a monster. Like, yeah, he's a babyface and he has this likable persona. That doesn't mean that he can't come out here and kick ass. Now he's in this feud with Andre Chase that, even though I liked the Andre Chase University and everything that they did there, Andre Chase's character still feels like a prelim gimmick. It doesn't feel like a main event gimmick. So you're having Odyssey Jones, a big guy, lose via a distraction, and be a distraction to Andre Chase. I'm sorry, but this feels like a major step down for Odyssey Jones, and he hasn't even done much other than be in that NXT breakout tournament. So I was not a fan of this. I think that Odyssey Jones, if they build him up right, he can definitely be, like a Bronson Reed or something. I don't know. Odyssey Jones was one of those guys that, like, immediately everybody was into the second that he came out during the NXT breakout tournament. So I hope that they don't keep doing stuff like this, because seeing him lose via a distraction again to Andre Chase, to me, was not necessarily the best way to get him over. And I think he kind of lost out a lot during this. I do think that this loss sort of impacted his character in a way. So let's see what we got here. Chair Relax basically says that Knight needed this win badly. Zeno Hour says they're rebuilding LA Knight. How so? How are they rebuilding LA Knight? I don't feel like they are. I feel like we're seeing the same thing. Rebuilding would necessarily mean we're seeing something different. I don't feel like we're seeing something different. Brandon Charles Powell says Odyssey Jones should be running through guys. He was a runner-up in the breakout tournament. And what the heck are we suddenly protecting LA Knight for? Ugh, thank you. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm sorry, but like, okay, isn't like the point of NXT 2.0 to be getting like these new guys over? All right, Odyssey Jones, push the damn guy. I'm sorry, but yeah, I wasn't necessary. If he would have lost in a clean way to LA Knight, oh, see, that's not even a good one. I don't know. I just did not like the distraction with Andre Chase. I'm sorry. I was not a fan of this. Oscar Joseph says that I'm definitely reaching with that con line. See, I told you guys, an indirect, direct shot at AEW. I don't feel like I'm reaching. And vote. You guys can vote. Is Denise reaching, yes or no? Look, I just want to start some drama, guys. Let's do it. I thrive. I feed off the drama. I need the drama. All right. Those of you guys that are watching the replay, watching the live version, listening to the audio version, am I reaching? Let me know in the comments. Let me know on social media. I'm cool if you guys think I'm reaching, but yeah, let me know here. We got a couple people saying that I'm reaching. It's nobody here on my side. Man, I feel alone in this. All right, let's go ahead and get a couple more comments here. This one's from Devin, who says, I think they want to make LA Knight look strong, so Braun looks better having beat LA back when he debuted. No, he already beat him. He doesn't need to look strong. He already beat him. That's it. Like, that's done already. Joel Fernandez says, Denise about to shut down the internet again. Al Profe Jr. 88 says, we already have enough tribalism, Denise. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. I was going to make a joke, but I'm going to move on from that. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, cool. I'm going to go ahead and move on from this here. We're going to go ahead and move on. All right. And let's go ahead and jump into, let's get into this Tomasuchapa Braun Breaker stuff, because this is good stuff, guys. All right. So I'm all for this here. So we got Tomasuchapa, we got Braun Breaker. For the last couple of weeks since we've seen Braun Breaker debut on NXT, he's definitely been eyeing that NXT championship belt. We've been seeing this like friendly yet not so friendly interactions between Tommaso Ciampa and Braun Breaker. Well, Tommaso Ciampa's no dummy, okay? He's no fool. He knows what Braun Breaker wants, and Ciampa is not the kind of guy that's going to back down from a challenge. So I love this. Tommaso Ciampa, they basically make this match, guys. They make this match. So they announced Halloween Havoc October 26th. That's in about 3 weeks, I believe. And right before Halloween. And they're going to have Tommaso Ciampa versus Braun Breaker for the NXT Championship. I love how quickly this match was made. They didn't toy around with my feelings or anything like that. They got straight through it. Straight to it. It makes perfect sense. Cool. Now, I would be shocked, and I mean shocked, if Tommaso Ciampa walks out NXT champion at Halloween Havoc. Again, we've been talking so heavily about these changes to NXT 2.0, etc., etc. Having Braun Breaker as champion would essentially kind of, cement these big changes that are being made. Okay. So, yeah, anybody here who thinks Tommaso Ciampa's winning, I don't know, man. It ain't happening. I'm going to be shocked, guys. Legitimately. Come that show, if Braun Breaker doesn't win the NXT championship, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm not saying that because I want Braun Breaker to win. Let me correct myself. I'm not saying that because I want Braun Breaker to win. I'm just saying that because it feels very, very obvious that this is the direction we're heading in, especially the way that he's been, obviously hyped up and presented on the show. I would be surprised. All right, guys, let's see what else we got here. And Charlie Mickle asked, how many times will they tag together before the 26th? Well, Charlie, we need to find out if they can coexist before they can actually have a match. That's the rules. Come on, guys. You know the rules here. We got Joe Fernandez saying Halloween Havoc on October 26th. Bring back Spin the Wheel, make the deal. And Uriel Vega says, did anyone else notice that Braun Breaker sounds just like Scott Steiner? It's funny because I actually wrote that down on my notes. I was like, I basically wrote down like he looks like his dad, wrestles like his dad, but sounds like his uncle. That's literally what I wrote down on my notes. Anyways, let's see what else we got here, guys. Send in some thoughts, and I'm going to try to read a couple of these as we move on. This one's also from Joelle saying, I'm rooting for Ciampa. I feel like Braun needs to be humbled first. You're great, but you're not ready. Ooh. Taylor Cannon says, I think Braun takes that title. Either way, I'm looking forward to it. We got Jeremy saying that wins it at War Games instead. Duke Togo says, Tony D'Angelo was over AF. We'll talk about that in a second here, guys. We'll talk about it. This one's from Synonymous TV, who says, somehow, I think they're going to hold off on Braun Breaker, probably to make some tweaks to his character. I hope they change that rainbow singlet. You don't like the singlet? Nah. I mean, all right. Cool. Let's move on. All right. We got a couple more people. We got another comment from Zeno Hours saying Ciampa should probably be seen as a favorite to retain, to be honest. You would think so. But I don't think so. All right. Joe Gacy, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Gacy. You know what? I'm going to say this about Joe Gacy. I feel like I've been very mean to Joe Gacy. I apologize. The last couple of weeks, I've said some mean things. Or I don't know if they were mean. They were a little sassy. But I will say this much. Joe Gacy's promos have been so god-awful. The verbiage is just so god-awful. But I am human, okay? I am human, guys. And when there's a car accident, we tend to look, right? When we're driving past, we'll tend to glance a little bit. When something is so bad, you can't keep your eyes off of it. That is exactly what I feel with Joe Gacy. Where now when he comes out, if someone is in the room talking, I will literally be like, shh, shh, let me hear what Joe Gacy is saying. Why? Because it is so terrible that I am now interested in what terrible things he's gonna say. So congratulations. It worked. They've done enough to get me to listen to Joe Gacy's awful awful promos. It's so bad. I'm looking forward to it now. I'm looking forward to the badness. All right. I'm sorry. All right. So Joe Gacy, he has a match, but before his match, he does a promo where he addresses the social media crash. Then he says that the only platform that will not crash is NXT 2.0. And he says he's going to use the ring as a safe space. He's been saying this a bunch. And then he says, quote, "We gather in unity to prove that conflict can be resolved peacefully. And yes, there can be two winners." Jesus Christ, Joe Gacy. Oh, anyways, Joe Gacy versus Ikeman Jiro. Ikeman gets him with a hurricanrana right off the bat. Commentary actually does a really good job pushing Joe Gacy's agenda. I didn't hate how I thought commentary added a lot to Joe Gacy's character here tonight. They were really they were really adding a lot of story and a lot of depth to that character. But I will be honest, guys, I do not see what they see in Joe Gacy. I'm just not a fan of like the in-ring stuff. I've seen a lot of impressive people. I'm just not impressed. Sue me. I'm not impressed. But after the match, we do see Joe Gacy defeat Ikeman Jiro. And after the match, we see Joe Gacy give him a hug because it ties into his promo where he said earlier that there can be two winners and that you can resolve any conflict peacefully. And so he gives him a hug and Ikeman Jiro's just like, okay, what the hell? Sure, whatever, bud. So as he's walking out, guys, we have the NXT debut of Parker, and I don't even know how to say his last name. Bordor. I don't even know how to say his last name. Anyways, he's there standing in the stands, and apparently his new name is Gunnar Harland. Now, they didn't address that on NXT tonight, but that's been the reports that his new name is Gunnar Harland, and he appears in the stands, and he's bald now. You guys have seen pictures of him. He was not bald before. He's bald now, and just based on what they did with his look, I feel, and I don't know if I'm wrong on this, guys. I do not know, so I am curious. Because, okay, when I saw this, I assumed that his next feud would be Joe Gacy, that they would be feuding with each other. Okay, that's what I got from this, okay? But there were a lot of people saying that they think they're going to team up instead. Okay, I didn't get that. I didn't get the vibe that they were going to team up. So maybe I missed the vibe there. But to me, it seems to me like they're going to be feuding with each other. Now, we do not know because this was literally just him standing and staring at him. But the way that he looked, and I could be very, 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 very wrong here, guys. But the way that he looked and like the way that they had him like all angry and, and just all of that, I have a feeling, based on what they're doing with Joe Gacy, I have a feeling that we're going to see the opposite of the Joe Gacy persona, but with Gunnar. So I do not know if they are going to do like this like right wing, left wing thing. I have no idea. However, that is what I am sensing. I think, and I could be wrong, that is the direction that they are heading in. That was the vibe I got. I could be wrong here, but let's see what you guys are saying here. Send in your thoughts. Do you see them teaming? Do you see them feuding? Am I wrong here on the, obviously this was just a couple of seconds of him standing up doing a grr face. So we could be reading too much into this, but what vibe did you get? Am I off here? Everybody's saying that he had, and this is true, everybody's saying that he had the skinhead look. Yes, he did have the skinhead look. So make that what you will of that, guys. Oh, God. Let's see what we got here. This one's from Matt Hensley, who says, maybe I'm way off, but the first vibe I got from Parker was that he looked like a skinhead, and I thought they were going to have him and Gacy feud because Gacy will look like the good guy compared to the Nazi. Well, Matt Hensley, thank you so much for writing this comment because you said all the things I didn't want to say on the air. I didn't want to say this on the air, guys. I did not want to say this on the air. I was trying to work my way around it. I was trying to be politically correct here. But this is exactly the vibe that I got. Like 1,000%. Okay. If you did not watch NXT tonight and you're just listening to this review, please go and watch this so you can tell me what vibe you got, because this is the vibe that I got. Thank you, Mac Hensley, who had more courage to say it than I did. And we have a lot of people that are kind of going this, I hate how I hate this. I hate it. But a lot of people are bringing up this Nazi thing, and I don't know what to say, guys. I do not know what to say. Jeremy says this could be an interesting disaster. Devin says, I really, really hope not. Joe Gacy's character felt like a reflection of the company's political views. To book a feud around this is a concerning thought. Brandon says it's just going to go from bad to worse. Mac Hensley apologizes for making me say it. We got Zeno Hour, who believes that they're not going to feud. And we got people saying screw political correctness. God, guys, I just don't know what to say, guys. I really do not know. Patrick says American History NXT 2.0. I watched the movie. I know what this is in reference to. Oh, man. We got a super chat from Nick Grosso. Thank you so much to Nick, who says, how about this for Dakota's debut? Tegan confronts Nikki and Rhea, saying they stole her title shot now that she got rid of Tank Girls. It's time to kick their heads off. Dakota lays out Nikki, then Tegan, and Dakota jumps Rhea. Rhea team. All right. I would not mind this. I wouldn't hate this because it would give some fluidity, or it would add something to the women's tag team division over on the main roster, because aside from Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley, I cannot name you another women's tag team. I legitimately cannot. So if they were to do something with Dakota and, with Dakota and, like you said, Dakota and Tegan, I would not hate that whatsoever. And as you guys know, Shotzi and Tegan are no longer a team. So, yeah, I would not mind this. Thank you so much to Nick Grosso for sending in this super chat. I really appreciate it. All right. We're moving on, guys. Oh, my God, these comments, guys. I'm moving on. All right. God. All right. What's next? Oh, man. This is another hot topic here. Just so many hot topics after another, guys. All right. Frankie Monet versus Cora Jade, ladies and gentlemen. Frankie lost to Cora Jade. Frankie Monet lost to Cora Jade. I repeat. That's nothing against Cora Jade, but it was a surprising victory, considering that I think we all thought they were going to go a certain direction with Frankie Monet. And based off the fact that they had her. Okay, so this is what's been going down with Frankie. So Frankie debuts. She has this. She confronts Raquel Gonzalez the night after Raquel won. Not the night, excuse me. A couple days after she won the NXT Women's Championship. So Frankie confronts her when she makes her debut. Okay, great. Frankie picks up a couple of wins. Okay, great. And then she starts doing this thing with she then partners up with Jessica Mea and Robert Stone. All right, whatever. There's really not much interest there. And then she gets announced to do this match with Raquel Gonzalez for the championship at NXT 2.0, the premiere. And then that match gets bumped. It gets moved, I think, the following week or 2 weeks later, something like that. We never really found out why, but they bumped that match. Okay, so then she has this match. And she loses. It was really a nothing match. She got the jobber entrance. And then after that, she got attacked. She got jumped by Toxic Attraction. Okay. And now she's here and she loses to Cora Jade. So the best way that I can say is I'm very curious as to what they are planning to do with Frankie Monet, because right now it feels like they're going in a totally different direction than what they were doing in the beginning with Frankie Monet. When she first came in, she was doing this bad and bougie and really cute, like I'm blonde and I'm perky and all of this, diva type of vibe. And it was fun. It was working. It was just an extension of what Taya Valkyrie has been doing prior to WWE. But then she got thrown into this, and now it just kind of feels like they've taken a lot of that like star power that she came into the company with. It feels like they've taken a lot of that away based on what we've been seeing on NXT. I thought she was going to be somebody that would be like at the top of like the NXT women's division, having killer matches with Raquel, Gonzalez, something like that. I wasn't expecting her to win the title right off the bat. I wasn't expecting that, but I was expecting her to go in and have these like badass matches, but that's not what we're seeing here. And based off her getting this loss and based off all the other things that I just mentioned, I don't know, man. It's not looking too great right now. It's not looking too great. So send in your thoughts. Guys. Am I reading too much into this? Please let us know here. Jason PS3 says, why doesn't Frankie go after Toxic Attraction instead? She should. Justin says, this is more fuel for my idea from last week that Frankie Monet is doomed in NXT. I still hope I'm wrong, but haven't seen any reason to hope for her yet. Yeah, I agree. I hope you're wrong. I hope I'm wrong because I feel like they could do so much more with Frankie Monet. I mean, she was one of those people that I thought could like be essentially brought into, because Frankie Monet is somebody that comes in with like extensive experience, okay? Like she isn't just, I don't know, a former athlete that, came into developmental and now wants to be a wrestler. No, that is like not the case whatsoever. She's worked all across the globe. And on top of that, she's TV ready, guys. Like she's been TV ready. She's somebody that could have literally skipped past developmental. You could have thrown her into Raw and SmackDown. You didn't have to put her on NXT. She could have been somebody that could have gone straight to Raw or SmackDown and could have been feuding with some of the top women. But that did not happen. So it is very interesting to me that like it's just a totally different direction. We got Who Flung Dung who says, Denise is hanging on by a thread. Guys, oh man, I think I am kind of getting, I don't even know. Chair Relax says this is true disrespect. Al Professor Jr. says Frankie lost to Avril Lavigne. Did you see my tweet? I tweeted this out, and I'm a big Avril Lavigne fan, so you guys should know. When Cora Jade came out with the punk rock theme song and the skateboard, I didn't think Darby Allin. I know a bunch of people did, but no, I thought Avril Lavigne, and I love it. I love it because I love Avril Lavigne, so I'm going to love this for Cora Jade. But I'm not talking about Cora Jade right now. I'm just talking about Frankie Monet right now. We got a super chat from Crifter C. Thank you so much to Crifter. Crifter says, she was a Darby girl. He said, hasta luego, girl. She was too NXT for him. Honestly, I did not expect that outcome, but I wasn't upset by it despite my support for Frankie Monet. I like how you did this like English Spanish version of Skater Boy. I'm like, where is he going with this? A great super chat, by the way. Yeah, I did not expect this outcome. Obviously, Cora Jade's a young, talented girl. She's definitely going to get over it. She has a fun persona, so I'm totally here for it. But yeah, I didn't expect it either. And this is nothing against Cora Jade. It's just, it feels polar opposite of what we were expecting for Frankie Monet. That's the thing to talk about there. Anyways, but thank you so much to Cryptor C for sending in this really awesome super chat. Okay, guys, and I'm going to keep going through a couple more comments here. All right, I think I'm pretty good on this here. Walter Johnson says, Denise is right, speaking her mind. That's why I have a show. 3 shows a week, ladies and gentlemen. I got to speak my own mind, not just somebody else's mind. All right, that's not making any sense. All right, I'm moving on. All right, guys, let's go on. This one is from, what am I talking about? Oh my God, I really am hanging on to a thread here. We're moving on to a couple matches that were announced for next week here. So we got next week, we're going to get Tomasuchapa versus Joe Gacy. So this is interesting. So Joe Gacy essentially confronts Tomasuchapa backstage while he's having an interview with Mackenzie Mitchell. And they gave Mackenzie like the worst line to ask, by the way. They asked her, no, she asked Tomasuchapa if he was happy of the outcome of Braun Breaker accepting his challenge. Bro, you put a challenge out there and it gets accepted. You're going to be mad? No, you're not. You're going to be happy. It was a very dumb question. But, anyways, that's not the point of this. Okay, so Joe Gacy confronts Tomasuchapa, and he basically says that he is that he's a privileged NXT champion and that he wants to face him, etc. So Tommaso Ciampa, like I said, Tommaso Ciampa is a badass. He doesn't give a damn who he has to face. This is why I love Tommaso Ciampa. Now, he's a real men's man. Anyways, so Tommaso Ciampa basically tells Joe Gacy, fine, if you can beat me next week, that I will add you, then you can be added to that triple threat match at Halloween Havoc with me and Braun Breaker. So now, here's my thing. I do not want to see Joe Gacy get added to this triple threat match because I kind of feel like he's going to take away from the match that I think Ciampa and Braun Breaker could have together. So I kind of feel like he would just kind of be that friend that's invited, but you don't really want to invite that friend. That's kind of what it would feel like if he were to be included in this match. But then I'm also thinking, okay, what if they put him in this match just so that he could take the pin and you don't essentially have Braun Breaker pinning Tommaso Ciampa, but instead you have Braun Breaker pinning Joe Gacy. So I do not know for sure if he's going to be added to this triple threat match. I could see it going either way. Personally, I would just prefer for Tommaso Ciampa to just like kick his butt next week and then just have it be the way that it was set to be, Ciampa and Breaker. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but don't be surprised if he does get added to that triple threat match here. And let's see what else we got here. Oh, man. All right, I think we got a couple more, guys. No, we're good. All right, let's go ahead and move on, guys. Let's get into, after this, we have Pete Dunne versus Cameron Grimes, which was by far the best match of the night. This was a really fun match, guys. Really fun match. I really enjoyed it, actually. We had Pete Dunne essentially work the arm of Cameron Grimes. As we know, Pete Dunne is a master at this. He did a lot of mat. We saw a lot of mat work from Pete Dunne. We see Grimes is so Pete Dunne was working on Grimes' left arm. So obviously Grimes only has his right arm to really do anything with. So he's throwing punches at Pete Dunne, but it's not doing enough for Grimes to get the upper hand in this match. Eventually he does get some momentum. Cameron Grimes, he goes to the top rope, hits Dunne with a cross body, and then at one point, we see Ridge Holland, who, as we all know, Ridge Holland isn't going to be on NXT much longer because he was drafted over to SmackDown. But he tries to attack Grimes when the referee is not looking, but Kyle O'Reilly stops him. Pete Dunne eventually gets the win here. And post-match, we see Kyle O'Reilly attack Pete Dunne, and so Kyle O'Reilly attacks Pete Dunne, but then both Ridge Holland and Pete Dunne end up double teaming and taking out Kyle O'Reilly. They essentially lay him out in the ring. And then that's pretty much it, guys. So we do have a match that was made for next week, BTW. We are going to get Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner versus Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland next week. So that is going to be happening next week. That should be a fun match. All right, Hit Row, everybody. Hit Row has officially been drafted to SmackDown as well. So I tweeted this out the day that Hit Row got drafted. So I tweeted this out on Friday. Isaiah Swerve Scott, your NXT North American champion, has not had a singles match and has not defended the NXT North American Championship since becoming champion. So he's finally going to defend the NXT North American Championship next week. He is going to have a match against Santos Escobar. So that's going to happen finally. Now, here's my thing. Now, it seems to me that it's very obvious, and if they don't do this, I would be surprised, but it's very obvious that Santos Escobar is going to defeat him for the NXT North American Championship so that bout could stay on NXT. Now, if they don't do that, I will be surprised. But if they do it, though, it kind of bums me out, guys. And I will say this why. Because we're all going to know that Santos Escobar is just the champion because they needed the belt off of Isaiah Swerve Scott. So I do kind of feel bad that he would get the championship like that in that manner. But at the same time, it's like, all right, you got to make do of this, like, opportunity. And I do hope, because here's the thing, we had Bronson Reed as NXT North American champion, and he didn't necessarily have much of a run either. Then you had Isaiah Swerve Scott. Again, like I said, he didn't even defend the title. So they finally need to put that title, because it's lost a lot of meaning and a lot of importance. They need to put it on somebody and actually have them defend the title successfully and numerous times. So I do hope that maybe this could be a blessing in disguise for Santos Escobar, and have him get the title and actually do something with it. I thought he was a great NXT Cruiserweight champion, and I thought that they were going to bump him into that, NXT North American title picture, and I thought that that's where they were going for a very long time, but they never pulled the plug. Now they pulled the plug, but they pulled the plug because, wow, Hit Row's out the door. So hopefully this could be a blessing in disguise. What I don't want to see is, I don't want to see Santos Escobar win the title only to lose it to some random new person on NXT. I do not hope that happens, but we will see. We got a super chat from Jeremy Jimenez. Thank you so much to Jeremy, who says Dunn has pretty much taken Adam Cole's role on the NXT roster, having badass matches. Now, Pete Dunne is somebody that, man, I've been rooting for him to be NXT champion for like the longest time, but right now it doesn't seem like he fits the, I don't know. It doesn't seem like he fits the aesthetic that they want in an NXT champion. Pete Dunne doesn't necessarily scream NXT 2.0. Like he screams old NXT. He doesn't scream NXT 2.0. So I don't see him becoming NXT champion anytime soon, which sucks because I've been rooting for him to be NXT champion for a very, very long time. And someone says, make Pete Dunne NXT North American champion. That'd be badass too, guys. But I don't think so, man. I do not think so. Alrighty, and we're going to go ahead and Brandon says, so you don't want to see Escobar drop the title to Gacy? Neither do I. No, I do not want to see that, guys. Whoever they put the NXT North American Championship on, they need to actually build it up and mean something again. That belt used to mean something. Right now, to me, it doesn't mean anything because it hasn't necessarily, they haven't had a champion that they've since like Johnny Gargano that's like done anything with it. Alrighty, guys, but we'll get into that next time. We'll see how we go here. Cameron Mumford says, I know how you're feeling, Denise. I said many times before that I'm all for Santos winning the NXT North American title. If it happens, it feels a bit tainted because it was given to him just because. Yep, that's exactly what it feels like. And he has done such a great job with everything he's been given. He deserves a little bit more than that. And I'm speaking about Santos Escobar here. All right, let's get into Malik Blade versus Tony D'Angelo. Because Tony D'Angelo has been pretty over. Those vignettes with that mafia character, whatever, it seems to be getting over with the people. However, I'll be honest, guys. This character has a shelf life. It has a ceiling. I don't see it lasting forever. I feel this is going to be a temporary thing. He was more over than I expected, more over than I anticipated. But I'll be honest with you guys, really didn't do much for me. I don't see Tony D'Angelo as anything more or anything less after this match. He is just there for me. The interesting part that I want to get at here is that Malik Blade, he's had a couple of matches on 205 Live. I thought this was going to be a squash match. I thought Malik Blade was going to go in here and get killed by Tony D'Angelo. This match went a lot longer than I expected it to. Malik got more offense than I expected him to. Hell, at one point, I thought this was a showcase for Malik Blade and not for Tony D'Angelo. So, and considering that this was Tony D'Angelo's in-ring NXT debut, I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, guys, I get why he's over, and it's the vignettes and the character, and it's funny and this and that. But I could care less, honestly. I'm not that big on this, guys. I'm not that big on it. Justin Martin says cheesy ethnic stereotypes really don't get a main event level. It's a very mediocre gimmick. Chair Relax says 80s gimmicks are back. Zeno Hours says Tony D'Angelo is bigger than Roman Reigns, Kenny Omega, and Okada combined. It's science, and science does not lie. Oh, God. Yeah, this wasn't necessarily all of that much. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. We got Mei Ying versus Andy Hartwell. This wasn't the greatest match ever. Andy Hartwell won. The only thing that I want to even talk about is that apparently Andy Hartwell wore out Dexter Lumis during their honeymoon because they went through 2 packs. They didn't say 2 packs of what, but you can guess 2 packs of what, considering what we saw in that briefcase when they did the honeymoon skit last week. We all saw what 2 packs. Anyways, and apparently Dexter Lumis is a 9.5. So make what you will of that. Or a 9.5, excuse me. A 9.5. Anyways, we get a quick backstage segment. Lash Legend. I liked her show, actually. Wasn't that bad last week. They have a quick little backstage moment where she's just talking to people and she's telling them that she's got hotter gossip than the Urban Meyer story. She thinks that Tony D'Angelo is a cast member from The Sopranos. And then she says she broke the internet. Not much there. We get a really awesome vignette for the Diamond Mine where it's Malcolm Bivens essentially talking about all of the members. He's talking about Ivy, the Creed brothers, Roderick, all of them. And this was a really great video. I like this. They should have done this a long time ago. Well, obviously the members changed for Diamond Mine, so maybe it's better that they held off because they would have had to redo another video anyways. I like this a whole lot. I've taken so much more interest in Diamond Mine ever since the Creed brothers became a thing. So ever since they were included in this, I'm liking also Ivy Nile. I liked how they described her as half human, half pitbull. I thought that was pretty awesome. Malcolm Bivens did a great job at narrating. This was fantastic. Loved this. Love this, love this, love this. And yeah, people are saying that this vignettes made them excited for Diamond Mine. I completely agree. I felt very excited as well. We got a couple more things to talk about, so I'm going to kind of rush a little bit here. We had Raquel coming out. She's pissed off. She's mad that Toxic Attraction attacked her last week. She addresses Mandy Rose and tells her that she's no longer going to be posing for Instagram pictures, but that instead she's going to be posing with a body cast. Toxic Attraction interrupts her. Mandy Rose tells her she's just a desperate champion who knows that her reign is coming to an end. And then Gigi Dolan puts over the fact that they are championship material. So I do think that within the next month or so, I do think that they're all going to have gold around their waist because JC Jolin basically says that they are the faces of NXT 2.0. And I will be honest, guys, she is not lying. When JC Jane, when JC said that they are the faces of NXT 2.0, that was not a reach. They have been promoting Toxic Attraction so much. I feel like I've been seeing them left and right. And then she says that they are not just the Toxic Attraction, but they are the attraction. And then all the women surround Raquel, like they're about to attack her, but Io and Zoe come out and have her back. So I'm assuming we're going to get a 6-woman tag. Then we're going to get a tag team match. We're going to get the singles match, and they're all going to have gold. Then let's go ahead and get into this. Oh yeah, somebody brings up a good point. Joel Fernandez wonders if we're going to have a winner takes all match at Halloween Havoc. They could go that direction too and do it all in one shot. So we'll see. We'll see what they eventually end up doing. I mean, they could stretch it out a little bit and do what I said, but they could also do a winner takes all match. Yep, that could definitely happen as well. All right, let's get into this main event, guys. So yesterday I interviewed MSK, and this match was scheduled to be an 8-man tag, but instead today on the show, they changed it to a fatal 4-way. So it's now a fatal 4-way for the tag team titles. So when I interviewed them yesterday, it was still the 8-man tag. Titles weren't on the line. So I was like, oh man, they made a really quick change there. But anyways, we got a super chat from Crifter C who says, Denise, just curious, who would be your dream opponent for Raquel Gonzalez? I'd pick Bayley. She is a free agent after Raw, and the feud would be lit. I think it would be a really good feud, her and Bayley and Raquel. Personally, I'm going to go with Charlotte and Raquel. I think would be really great. I also think that Shayna and Raquel would be pretty awesome as well. I'm thinking, I mean, obviously Becky and Raquel would be pretty cool too. Bianca and Raquel would be, oh man, there's a lot of options. I don't think I have like a dream opponent. I have a laundry list of people that I think could have really good matches with Raquel. I think Raquel really what got Raquel over was that feud that she did with Rhea Ripley. And I think if Raquel is in there with somebody that can help her carry her to a really good match, I think she could definitely have a great match with just about any of those women that I just mentioned there. So thank you so much to Cryptor C for sending in this super chat here. Okay, so this 8-man tag ended up turning into a fatal 4-way. We got Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs versus Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams versus the Grizzled Young Veterans and MSK. There was a lot of energy in this match, which I enjoyed. The one criticism right now that I have of MSK is that they really need to they've been missing a lot of their high spots, and the camera keeps catching them all, so it kind of takes away from the match for me. So that was one of the things that I noticed a lot in this match, and it didn't happen so much, but it happened just enough for me to notice and make a note of it here. So I hope that they stop showing when MSK misses these spots, or I hope MSK stops missing these spots. I was a little bit surprised that Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams got eliminated first, and that they got eliminated fast. The only reason for that is that I kind of thought that this would have been considering that this is their first match as a team together, I was expecting to see a little bit more of them as a team, but I don't feel like I was really given enough time to even form any sort of opinion on them. So I can't really say anything on how I felt about them as a team. I don't feel like I saw them enough. I did not see much of them to really formulate an opinion. MSK was fired up during this match. We eventually see Briggs and Jensen eliminate the Grizzled Young Veterans. That was a big elimination for them. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious that they see something in Brooks and Briggs. So, based on the stories that they've been doing, based on the fact that they're two big guys, I do think that they're bound to be NXT Tag Team Champions. I actually thought that it was happening tonight because they were the final team along with MSK. And for a second, I thought, all right, MSK is losing the belts here. And I really, really thought so for a second, but nope. We ended up seeing MSK retain their belts, which I think is cool because, again, I like long title reigns, so I did not mind seeing MSK retain here. There's been quite a few times where I thought MSK were about to lose the titles, and every time I think they're going to lose the titles, they don't. So they've been surprising me there with their booking of MSK. After the match, we saw Imperium beat up MSK, jump them from behind, and that was essentially how the show ended. So there you guys go. Let's see if we got any other comments here. Drew Scott says, great job as always, Denise. You took my mind a bit off that abomination of a baseball game on ESPN. Well, I don't know what's going on right now because obviously I'm here, but we got people saying, let's see what we got. Let's see. This one's from Joelle, who says, Grizzled Young Veterans still soon to be recognized as NXT champions, crying face. And Rated C believes that MSK are the saviors of the NXT tag team division. And yeah, I mean, what else is there to really say? There really isn't that much to say, guys. This one's from Pomi, who says, actually quite enjoyed the main event, but I was left thinking this match would have been better if it was MSK versus Grizzled Young Veterans. But they've done that match, though. They've done that match a few times, I feel. But as the two final teams, MSK versus Grizzled Young Veterans would have been a lot better. That's why I thought that the titles were going to change hands the second I saw Grizzled Young Veterans get eliminated. That's why I thought the titles were going to change hands. But if it was MSK versus Grizzled Young Veterans at the end, then I would not have been surprised when MSK won the actual titles there. Alrighty, guys. That's pretty much it. Alrighty. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to my NXT post show. I hope you guys had a really good time. I, as always, have a good time here. Friendly reminder, if you haven't already, make sure to follow me on Twitter and/or on Instagram @ Denise Salcedo. I am so close to 40K. It is so annoying. I'm like 1,000 followers away. Please go over there and give me a follow if you haven't already. And make sure to subscribe to F4W Online. I will be back tomorrow to talk about the Dynamite anniversary, AEW Dynamite. My weekly Wednesday coverage is my most popular show of the week, so make sure you guys tune in for that. And then I will be back on Friday to talk about King of the Ring and Queen's Crown Tournament and AEW Rampage. So much wrestling to discuss. Until next time, I'm Denise Salcedo. Bye, everybody.